Hello there, this is Jeff Erdman, E.D.S. Inc. Shandon. Welcome to another episode of the E.D.S. Inc. Shandon Shop. What we have going on today is the building of some feet for our Bridgeport mill. When we were, I had bought some feet from McMaster Car, and here's a sample of it now. What happens is that the casting of that Bridgeport is about 5 inches deep, but it's all hollow. So where our holes are for our feet, it's all the way up inside that housing at the top. And so basically this fastens just on this part of it here, and the rest of it extends down to the bottom. Well, I put on the feet before I moved the machine because I had it up on a forklift. So I was able to get at it real quick. And I was a little bit concerned about adjusting those feet because once you put them in, you can't change them. So I measured them meticulously to try to get them exactly the same from where the mill was at the top of the bolt. Now that didn't mean that it was going to be perfect because the washer thickness can vary a little bit. I didn't have precision washers, which I probably should have used, but it doesn't matter at this point. So I moved the machine as far back as I could with the forklift into the corner where it was going. It's basically going in a corner to this side of the shop. We're up on the loft right now, so it would be down below us. And so with the walls right there, there's hardly any room to move. And then of course I put my Monarch lathe just running this side in front of it. And so I couldn't get the forklift in there to move it anymore. And so I had to hand move it, and I was using rollers and levers. And unfortunately I got so far into that corner I couldn't hardly move it anymore. And it wasn't into the position I wanted. I wanted, at the corner, I wanted to be right at a 45-degree angle in that corner. And that would allow for the most distance travel of my bed across from one side to the other. So I wanted to make sure I had full use of that bed on both sides. And where it sat, when I got it as far as I could get it, one side of the table is nearly hitting the wall, and I didn't really want that. So I really wanted to have that just at a perfect 45, so I had the same amount of room both sides on that table. So I was trying to move it, and inadvertently I ended up bending the feet. So I ended up with two of them like this. Now it was the back 2 feet. The front 2 are still straight, but they still have the same issue. You see, this is extending, although this is 5/8 and it supports it quite well if it's static. But if I tried to move it at all, the front would bend just like this. So we're going to replace all these feet. We're going to cut these down to about here. We're going to make an 1.5 inch in diameter shaft, and I'm going to be making it out of this here cast iron. So we got these cut down at about 4 inches, and we're going to mill it and drill and tap each end of it for 5/8 11, I think it is, and then we'll screw these feet into that. We'll use a bolt down through the top to fasten this part up inside the machine, and then I'll have a nice solid foot, and plus I'll be able to use the adjustment nuts to adjust the legs up and down, so then I can get it level. And that was an issue that I had with the feet like this. So that's what we're going to do. I've got a little drawing of it here. Clumsy fingers here. But basically, so it's going to be a shaft, and it'll have the holes for the 5/8 11, tapped out on either end, and so I'll run a bolt through the base of the machine, the top part of the base, and to fasten it from the top, and that foot I'll cut that off and run it up through into this, and I'll have an adjustment nut here so that as I turn the bottom and it either raises or lowers it, that nut will lock into this and prevent it from moving from that point. So that's the idea. Now the only other thing that I'm going to be doing on this is I'm going to be radiusing these corners at the top because of the casting of the Bridgeport mill. As it gets up close to where the base side comes down, and then you have the top of your base, the corners are chamfered, you could say, and so this part has to fit up into that chamfer. The square corner won't fit, so we're going to have to radius this corner so that this can fit all the way taut against the top part of that base and fasten tight to that base. Now, full disclosure, I've tried this once already and I totally failed. I have this mystery metal here that was harder than the dickens to cut, and it was even harder to tap, and so as you can see, I've got a tap busted off in the end of this. I broke 2 taps trying to use this material, dulled my drill bits, so I finally had enough and I said, I'm just going to get some cast iron. I'll make it out of cast, that's easy to run, and we shouldn't have any breakage with 1.5 inch material. I'm pretty certain that it's going to support that machine just fine without ever breaking. Even if I have to move it a little bit, I don't think it'll break the machine, the feet. So that's my plan. So let's now just move on over to the lathe and we'll start manufacturing those feet. So I have my first piece of cast iron in here and I've already faced it off. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and we're going to radius this edge. So now we need to get a center started here. We'll go ahead and we'll get our center drilled. See if you can see that okay. Yeah. Good start. Now I'll drill this out, slow her down a little bit. Okay, 5/8 of 11 requires a 17/32 drill bit. So I'm going to clean my taper off. Pull off this one. Make sure we're cleaned out. Pop in the new one. Okay, we've got her set at 1 inch. And we'll start drilling. have to use a taper tap, and I have to get enough good threads in there to run the bolt about 1/2 inch in there. The base of that Bridgeport, I think, is between 3/4 and 1 inch thick, and so I'll have about 1 inch, close to 1 inch, that I'm going to be going through the base, and then I'd like to get about 3/4 inch purchase into that if I can. So this will give me plenty of thread so that I can get that purchase like I would like. So now all we have to do is tap it. And I'm going to have to run down and grab a tap. They're down in the lower shop. So I'll grab a tap and we'll bring her back up. Okay, we got our tap. So we're going to first blow off my machine here, get all this garbage off here so it's not move my get all that iron out of there. Move this back. Give you a wider shot of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this off, the drill head off. We're going to use our other chuck. Put it in the center point. Move this back so I can get in there okay. I'm going to take this into neutral so I can spin the head. Sorry if my head's in the way there. Oh, it'd be helpful if I lock this. Okay. Now we'll just, uh-oh. Hang on, folks. I got a failure here because I didn't tighten this like I should have. What's going on here? There we go. Get it back into the center of this. Okay. Now I'm going to just take this and I'm going to crank this thing in just by hand here. Just take it back out. Get my air up here. Whoops. Get off my center. There we go. See how we did. Yeah, that should be plenty right there. No problems. turn this thing around, do the other side. Let me pull this back out of the way. You notice that as I was tapping, I was putting a little bit too much pressure on it, and so this got recessed a little bit. Bad boy. Okay, let's pull this off. Get my hose out of there so it won't wrap itself up. We'll take this in, we'll face it off. So what I did is I've got this set at 0, my lathe set at 0, so as I come in I can see the depth of cut. So let me get this slowed down. Go ahead and you've already seen me tap her. Let's just rinse and repeat until I get 4 of those done. So this is the new location of the Bridgeport, and it's actually hanging. The front feet, the original feet that were in there that we're going to be replacing are in there, but the backs are out, and I'll be installing those now. So what's happening right now, if you can see it, I'll bring up closer. See, we have an I-beam right there, and the Bridgeport is on a hoist that's right here. You can't see the straps, but the straps are behind it, but you can see the hook that's holding the straps that are lifting the back end of the Bridgeport. So basically what we have to do is it's exactly in the position that I want it. It's you can see that the bed is not touching the wall on the right. If I extend it all the way to the left, it won't be touching the wall on that side. So I've got all the room I need for that. If I need something wider than that, then I have the Ajax mill that I can put it on. And I can do something that's 20 foot long on the Ajax because of the room that I have there. So, which is just, I'm standing right beside it now while I'm taking a picture. So, and then you can see over here, that's the Monarch there. The Monarch used to be right along that wall where the Bridgeport is. Now we pulled it out, it's sitting over here, and it's waiting for its beautification. And we'll be getting into that sooner or later. So I think I'm going to get the Genie Shaper running first. So let's go ahead and I'll bring you on in and we'll put a foot on this thing. Okay, so we're over at the Bridgeport, and here's what our foot looks like. It's an 1.5 inch piece of cast iron. It's radiused at the top so it can fit up underneath the base of that Bridgeport. And it's got the adjustable foot on it. So this nut here just locks this foot in place. I can put a wrench on this nut, this one right here, and that can turn this in or out. So I can adjust the height so I can level the machine out. And then just tighten this one that's back by the shaft when I'm all done, and that locks it all in. So this is installed by pushing it up underneath and bolting down through the top. So let's go ahead and I'll try to get the camera down there to where you can see the action. Okay, I have to kind of twist and contort myself down here because you all wouldn't be able to see otherwise. These were the cushions that this sat on before, and there was no adjustment in them. They you just sat them there, and And so they didn't do us too much good. So let's go ahead and we'll take this, we'll slide this under here, see if I can grab this bolt, line this puppy up, put the hole, fastener down in there. Didn't have to use the pipe wrench. And that foot is on. I'll get you down and show you a picture up close. So this is our foot in place, and it swivels and pivots. That's our adjustment screw, and that's our, not screw, but nut. And that is our locking nut. And as you can see, we come up here. This is the bolt that holds it down onto the base. And you can see the radius here. Well, that radius is on the inside of this housing as well. And so that's why I had to radius the top of that part, so that I could get it tight against the top when I bolted this down. And now it works pretty sweet. So now I'll be able to adjust this thing and get it perfectly level. Something I haven't done since she was first installed. So you can see the other foot over there on the other side. That's the one you saw me put on. And this one here. So now we have to let this side of the machine down and pick up the front side so we can do the same thing to the front. Okay, we're going to do some power tapping. Hopefully I won't cause too much mayhem here. As you can see in here, hopefully the hole's all the way through on this one. I found on the last ones that I did that I didn't have enough, because I don't have a, and I should have bought one by now, but I don't have a bottom tap, so I have to use this taper tap and run it in deeper. And running it in only 1.5 inches just didn't give me my threads to the bottom like I need. So I decided to go ahead and drill it all the way through. So now we have to flip this over. We'll tap it from this end, and then we'll be set. So this top, this radiused edge, is the side that goes up against the Bridgeport. This side goes where the foot of the for the Bridgeport will fasten in here. Tapped all the way through, so that should be good for me. Should give me plenty of adjustment and thread inside that part, and I don't think it'll weaken it that much. I think it still has plenty of strength to hold up that Bridgeport. Those side walls are about 5/8 thick. Okay, so we've machined our two shafts that are going to be used to fasten the feet to the Bridgeport. This will, like I said, it'll go up into the casting. The foot will mount on the bottom. Now you already saw me do the two on the back side of the machine. These two I just pulled off the machine. So we have to cut these down about so high so that there's enough adjustment in them. And you can see these are bent too. You can see just a slight bend in that shaft from moving around there, the length of it. So we're going to cut those down about so here. Bring this nut down to the bottom, put them into the foot, fasten that to the machine, and we'll have our 4 feet. So we'll go down, we'll get these cut off, bring back up, put on these feet. I have to bring them up anyway to sand them down, grind them down, and then we'll move on down to the Bridgeport. So I've taken the feet, and you can see I've cut these off. I've got the adjustment screw set at 1 inch from this one. It's 1.105 is what it is between here and here. That's what I had the back feet set at. So hopefully we'll be somewhat close with all of our feet when we put them together. So these go on here, like so. And that nut right there is what locks this in place. So the adjustment is right down here. I loosen this nut, and then I can adjust this foot up and down as I need to. This will be bolted to the Bridgeport and will not be movable. But the foot will be able to move up and down, and I'll be able to reach these nuts from the underside, which I couldn't do before the way it was set up, because this nut was all the way up inside of the housing of the Bridgeport. So now we don't have as much stress on this piece of metal, this 5/8 rod, and so we shouldn't have that bending anymore, and I think that this is thick enough that we won't have that cracking. So we've got that ready to go on. And that one's ready. So now let's go down to Bridgeport and put them on. Okay, we tried these and they're a little bit short. I don't get enough grip on those, so we found some larger 5/8s. So we'll go ahead and we'll try to stay out of your line of view. Here we go. So both front feet are on, both back feet are on. So I wanted to show you something here. As we look up here, you can see my head on my Bridgeport is turned over slightly. And I don't know if you can tell, but I have actually 2 hoists up there. The first hoist that I lifted the Bridgeport up with jammed and won't release and come down. So I had to take the tension off of it, so I put another, it's a 3-ton hoist up there, and it's got the weight of the Bridgeport in here. I tried to get the forklift in here to lift it enough to move it, and unfortunately that didn't work. So now that I've got the feet on, I'll go ahead and jack this up a little bit more, take a little bit more tension off the other hoist, disconnect it, and then I'll get that lined up. The Bridgeport will be lined up perfectly with that I-beam up above, and out just a little bit more than I have it now. So I have room to scoot in behind it and plenty of room for the tables to slide back and forth. I'll give you a shot when I'm all done. Okay, get down here so you can see me. So on these feet, we came out with a problem. What we found is that the casting right here and here is thicker than the casting on the back side. So I had to bring my hoist down, hook it onto here, lift this side up, pull these 2 feet off, and then I had to take off about a ½ inch from this side and about a ¼ inch off of that side, off those feet, so that we could get this to where it's level. So right now we have it level backwards and forwards on both sides. With our precision level, we put that on, and this direction that we have it level. But we're tipped this way. We have to go up on this side on both the front and back foot to get it level across this direction horizontally. So we've got that to do, but the nice thing is these feet are right now. So I can adjust them. I have enough room to adjust them to get this thing level, which has been a real headache since these feet were too long. And I couldn't get enough height in the back to compensate for the front. And plus that would have elevated the machine up higher, which makes it a little bit harder to work with. So we pulled these feet off, took them back to the lathe, cut them down, and put them back onto the machine. So now we're set, and we can move forward with finishing the leveling of this and getting her all set up for use again. We put our new air system in. I'll show you that in a second, so that we have air for this machine, and we got power back here for it. So we're almost there. All we have to do is level her out, and we can plug and play. So we already had air up to that valve right there. So what we did is we took the air that was on that side, and you can see, let's see if I can bring you forward here. You can see that pipe there. Well, you can see a joint right there. We cut the pipe off right there, just put a straight pipe in, and then took that pipe that was up there and brought it down and moved it over to here and hooked it into that valve and brought it down here across, and now we have all the connections we need for the Bridgeport mill. So I've got my precision level here on the Bridgeport, and you can see we're pretty doggone good. Hopefully we can get a shot of that to where you can see that bubble. And it's lining up right on the red line here, just a little bit over here. So we got a little bit more adjusting, but I need to get it leveled this way, which if you take this and run it this direction, you can see we're way out. If you're looking at that, there you go, you can see the bubble this way. So I have to jack this thing up on the right side to get it up to where I need it. So, but here, you can see that bubble's pretty close. So once we get the other side jacked up and the table level horizontally, then we'll do fine tuning on this direction. Well, that's a wrap on the Bridgeport feet. I want to thank you so much for watching E.D.S. Inc. Shandon. If you enjoy the content that we have, then subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I want to thank you so much for viewing. Until next time, see you later.